All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it. Move, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
All right.
All right, week 17, Armani suits and run. Um, we a couple weeks ago had a very good 4-1 week, followed it up with a 1-4 week,
Mm.
and in classic Armani suits and run fashion, followed that up with a 2-2-1 week.
Mm.
So let's go over the picks. Um, I was on the Vikings -3. We got a push there. 27-24 win over the Seahawks. Obviously not ideal, but a push is better than a loss. We'll take it. Um, Kiernan, you were on the Cardinals -4.5 against the Panthers. Panthers won that game outright. I think the final was like what, 36-30?
Yeah, 6 points, whatever it was.
Yep. And then Bowen, you were on the Jets +3, lost to the Rams 19-9. Um, for Sunday Night Football, we were all on the Bucks -3.5, which triggered the Costanza rule, which gave us the Cowboys +3.5. Cowboys win 26-24. Of course they do. Costanza improves to 3-1. Uh,
Impressive.
then we had the man Campbell, Lions -6.5, and man with a convincing win last week. So man Campbell improves to 3-1 as well.
Rule
Um,
continues to be just.
it does. It does. So we're 0-2-1 on our individual picks, and then Costanza and Man.
Oh wow, I didn't realize we sucked that bad.
It's not great when you've got like joke gimmick picks that
Literally the two picks that we were forced to take.
yes,
Yeah. And one of them was actually forcing us against our gut.
that's right. That's right. Which is why we put it in place because we know who we are.
And
So
I was about to say when you were bringing up the Costanza record. First of all, 3-1 is a fantastic record. Small
yes.
sample size, of course, but
Yeah.
just think if we didn't put that rule in place, it would be 1-3.
Yeah.
And our record would be worse.
That's right. That's right. But I love, but again, I think credit to us. We know who we are.
Yeah,
And we knew that it was necessary at the time to put in a rule like that. Um, so I think, we deserve a lot of credit for
yeah. And
And
I always say
and
like the moment I feel like I want to put like more than one unit on a pick, that's when
that's a
I
slowdown.
should take a step back and cross it off my list because I always say anytime like I feel like I'm winless on picks that I absolutely love. So it's the same
Yeah.
thing, the three of us go and yeah, so I mean, but yeah, I mean, Man Campbell, I wonder what the I think we probably have to go back and look for it, but I wonder what the Man Campbell record is too.
I think it's 3-1.
Okay. Um,
Um, let
the
me,
only Costanza loss is on the Desmond Ritter game, right?
I think
yes.
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause
if we're counting like Desmond Ritter games, like I wouldn't even count that. Like that's just like we didn't even know. I think at the time of the call that
yeah, it
Ritter
was
was
like
even playing.
50-50 who would start.
So I mean, that one was a wash from the start. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, Man Campbell's 3-1. So Man actually lost his first game.
Oh.
That was week 10. Let me go back and look.
I remember that because then I remember saying like, we got to stick with it. We can't just
Yeah.
ditch it after 1 week.
Yeah. They were Oh, so that was the game. I think they were like 4.5 point favorites against the Texans, and that was the game they came back and won. I
Yes,
think
yeah, and we bet on them to
we bet the
yeah,
live money line. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, but we were like, we got to keep going with vibes like that. We got to keep going.
yeah,
That was tremendous. What a comeback win that
yeah,
was.
yeah. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that game. That was a good one.
23-7, and then yeah. Um, anyway. All right. So just to recap where we're at, 37, 41, and 2. Um, again, we're a 5-0 week away from breaking the 500 barrier. We're right there. individual records. So I wouldn't say I improved nor dropped. But I am 7-7-2. Overall record 19-22-2. Kieran, you're 10-6. 21-22 overall. Bowen 5-11. 19-26. Bowen, you have secured the Vegas trip.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get creative. I actually just found out I have a May 22nd destination Aruba wedding on a Thursday. So it's like a 3-day minimum vacation that I'm gonna have to take to get down there. So it's gonna take some creativity, I think, over the course of the summer. I think I have 5 weddings
Oh boy.
already on the books. So it's going to get creative. I think the foreign correspondent's going to be a part of it, and we're going to have to make it work. But
I think we could probably do something too. Like I think there could be some sort of like fund, like a change jar where it's like, we can the people that don't go, we can help contribute maybe with, some meals or any sort of something to alleviate the funds because it's like you are still going out there to sign up for us. So you're still doing us a favor by going. So
We'll have Bowen.
figure it
We'll
out.
have Bowen out front of Stop and Shop tagging.
I definitely.
I was saying last year I would actually love to try and do that. Just
I would like to get it in before August. I don't want it to be like August 1st and I have no plan because that gets real.
Yeah. And that's
That
what I
gets
was
real
saying
bad.
when I went was like I don't know why we felt like we always feel like we have to wait until like the week before
It's like week 0.
it opens in like May.
Yeah, we can get it done early. Yeah.
So
It's just one
yeah,
of
I
those
might
things.
have
It's
to.
like I was talking to Talon called me the other day, and we were talking about like random shit, and I was saying how because there's that whole online discourse about like the Odyssey and like people just straight up not knowing what the Odyssey is, and that's really the issue. Like I don't think people need to know what the Odyssey's about, what happens, or anything like that. It's like you've never heard of the damn book, and
Yeah.
I was saying how in high school we had to like write our own Odyssey. Like we had to just like write our own story. And I wrote like it had to be like 7 to 10 pages. And, naturally I started writing mine at like 10 p.m. the night before it was due. And I just pulled an all nighter to the point where I was like sick going into school because I didn't sleep at all. Um, but it's like one of those things where like I look back on that, or it's like the books that we had to read in English class. And I'm like, they weren't asking for that much. Like if I wrote like a page a day,
Yeah.
that would have been so easy. Or it's like I was reading Catcher in the Rye like recently, and it's a great book. And I just remember in high school it would be like, okay, you have 2 days to read 4 chapters, and I didn't do it. It was like 30 pages of literature, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. And I'd spend like an hour like studying the Spark Notes when I could have just spent like 30 minutes reading the pages. And but yeah, I always laugh at like shit like that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, when it comes to doing that, yeah, maybe try and do like I don't know, like June or July or sneak it in. But yeah, I think that we can, even if it's like a meal fund or something, pay for your food out there. But
It's
I'll
like
figure it out.
how people like for their honeymoon, you can like contribute.
yeah,
We should create a website for Bowen for his Vegas trip. People can just
well, we
go in.
made a ton of money on the bachelor trip, doing like the Venmo, buy the groom a drink or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
made like a killing off of that.
We had like $1,000 dinner because we made like $1,000.
We ordered we made so much money. We ordered 2 racks of they had like slabs of bacon just hanging. They were like caramelized bacon strips.
Oh,
And we got two racks, and by the time we like dished out the first rack, we were like, I don't think we needed a second rack. We're like slinging it around. We're like, oh wow, that's a lot of bacon left.
We got like a seafood tower. We got fucking the works.
that's
Disgusting.
awesome.
But
That's
I
awesome.
think we went straight home after. We were like the whole plan was like, get a good meal on us and go out. And all of us were like, I need to go shit. It's like my stomach hurts now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Because you
love.
should have seen by the end of that trip, we're sitting in the hot tub, and it's like, like 10 guys on the trip, and I think all of us are in some capacity like pretty beefy. We're all just stewing in this hot tub. And it was like the second to last night, and we're like, kind of stink. And
The
we
water
go-
wasn't filtering correctly.
yeah, we
no.
we go up to the balcony. And we looked down, and there was a pool, and then there was a hot tub next to it. And the pool is like crystal clear. It's like the waters of Antigua, like beautiful water. And then the hot tub, it looks like bone broth.
The most disgusting thing in the world.
Like we were just like too gross for the filter. We were like putting in too much filth that the filter couldn't keep up.
That's awesome. Looked like bone broth.
I think like the last day we just like couldn't use it. We're like, it's just gross. Like it stinks when you go around there. It smells like a sewage.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wheel time.
Wheel time. Let's do it. Let's get into it.
All right. Hmm? Bowen.
All right. Going Packers versus the Vikings. Packers on the road. It's a 1 point, pretty much pick 'em spread. 1 point spread. I think the Packers are getting the point there on the road. I think there's been a lot of talk about the Lions and the Vikings, rightfully so, as they have Week 18 games staring them down pretty much for the 1 seed if the Vikings are able to win out and get there. But quietly, I think the Packers have been playing better or as good as the Vikings and the Lions. I think they're that clear third team that's just kind of getting boxed out from the narrative a bit because of their record. But I don't think that they're necessarily a worse team than the Vikings. What they've been able to do in the run game on offense has been really, really impressive. They pretty much dominated December just by running Josh Jacobs, a bunch, converting in the red zone because of that. And Jordan Love's pretty much played mistake-free football for the past X amount of weeks. I want to say like 6 weeks or so. He really has cut down the interceptions, and I think a big part of that is because of the run game getting going. On defense, they're really stout, and we've seen at times that Vikings offense have some lapses, and I don't even know if it's really going to take many mistakes from Darnold or that team. I think the Packers are just able to put up a good amount of points on this Vikings team, and it's going to be a close game, but I think they squeak it out.
I like it. Didn't make my top three because I kind of I chose the mud this week. My card is gross, but I was looking through it and I kind of went into it thinking like, okay, probably Minnesota. I saw all those injuries for Green Bay, but that's another one of those things where, sometimes that's going to get the public all moving towards Minnesota, and that makes me want to go to Green Bay. But then even when I looked at the sheet, it's a pretty good matchup for Green Bay as well because I'm looking at what Minnesota's defense does, and it's like, okay, it's like pretty good production from the running backs, maybe not a ton of touchdowns, but a decent amount of yards. And then like the receivers, it's pretty well dispersed amongst like the wide receiver 1, 2, and then even like the 3 and the tight end. They all kind of get theirs, and that just kind of plays right into Green Bay's strength. So it's like they can lean on that run game with Josh Jacobs, but if they want to throw it, they can actually find their matchups like all around the field. So I kind of like it. Plus, it's still Toyotathon, and that's kind of Jordan Love's thing. He really thrives during Toyotathon. So he's got until January 6th.
I was on the other side. Um, I love Minnesota in this game. I think with the injuries, I think, with the opportunity that they have in front of them, which, Bone, you already, kind of acknowledged. But I will say one stat that I did see that's interesting that I think bodes well for the Packers is Matt LaFleur is great in a revenge spot. So basically, when his team is lost to that team the previous time. He's great at bouncing back and getting the win. Obviously, the Packers lost to the Vikings back in week 4, 31-29. Matt LaFleur in this revenge spot. He's 27-11 straight up, 25-13 ATS.
Was that with Malik Willis too?
What's that?
That was with Malik Willis, I believe.
That was with Malik Willis, yeah. Yeah. I think so.
And that was before Josh Jacobs really got integrated in fully.
Yeah.
He wasn't until like a month or a month and a half in that he really started.
Yeah.
And I do think it's a bit of a look ahead spot for the Vikings, as much as it really can't be because of how good the Packers are, division rival and all that. I still think it's a bit of a look ahead spot for a team that could be, clinching the
Oh,
one seed in Week 18.
you know what? It was Love's first game back from that injury.
Oh, even better.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he was like awful in the first half, and then they
Awful in
almost
the
came
first
back,
half,
and
and
he
then he
went like
lit it
crazy.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
They
that.
so they were down. They were down 28-7 at the half, and then
No, I was
they
20.
scored 22 points in the fourth quarter uh,
Wow.
to come back and get back into it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, I do remember that game.
yeah, but he threw three interceptions, but four touchdowns. Um, but pretty much most of two of those interceptions came in the first half. He threw one in the second half. That was a bit of a setback for them, but um, and he had a they also fumbled. Kraft fumbled late in the game too. But again, it was like his first game coming back after, getting hurt in week one. So still very early for him in terms of reps.
Yeah, I
But
also feel like this is kind of like a not so fast spot for Minnesota, where it's like
yeah,
everybody's already looking ahead to that Week 18 matchup, Minnesota, Detroit. Oh, it's going to come down to the division. It's not always that easy. Like, I mean, this is a very tough game for them.
but it may
Uh,
not. I mean, because we'll talk about this in a little bit, but Lions got the Niners this week, and it's like, I mean, if because basically if the Lions win and the Vikings lose, like next week does not matter, right?
I'm not sure. Are the Lions 2-0 against them?
Well, the Lions
Or well, they're
won
1
the
and 0.
first game
Yeah. I don't know. I get lost in the tiebreaker stuff.
because they'll
Because
be.
I mean, I would say, well, yeah, I don't know. Because then
Well, I think it
if
goes
it's a
to
one game
division.
thing and then Minnesota won next week, they'd be tied and they'd split the season series. So then I don't know where it goes from
Then
that.
it
I don't know if
goes
it's like
to,
division
I think,
record.
even with division and conference records.
Yeah,
So let's say that's how it plays out.
yeah,
So right now the Lions are 5-0 in the division. Vikings are 3-1. So the Lions would still be 5-0, but the Vikings would now have two losses in the division. So they would lose that tiebreaker, even if they beat Detroit heads up. And then even if it went to the conference first, the Lions would be 10-1, Vikings would be 8-3. So the Lions would have the conference tiebreaker locked up too. So I think they win the succession of tiebreakers anyway.
yeah,
So if Detroit wins this week, Minnesota loses, next week does not matter.
yeah. All right.
Got it locked
Yeah, and
up.
it's one of the, I also it's just like Minnesota, like they're already way past their expectations. So it
Yeah.
feels like this is like it just feels like a loss for them. So I mean, we'll see. But I mean, yeah, like I said, when I was looking at the sheet, I went into it thinking with all those injuries, it's got
Yeah.
to be Minnesota. But then I saw those matchups, and it's like I feel like this offense can get going. I mean, it's probably the best coaching matchup of the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Up there.
Be a great game.
yeah, should be like an amazing game. Like whether it's high scoring or not, who knows? But I feel like even if it's like a grinded out battle, it's still going to be
Yeah.
entertaining as opposed to like the Thursday night game this week or something.
Yep. For sure.
And justice for that Pats Rams Super Bowl, because that was a great game. I don't care that it was 13-3 or whatever. But that does not belong in the same category as like the Bears Seahawks game.
No, I mean the level of football being played.
Like there's sloppy bad football, and then it's like, wow, this is like a really good defensive battle and a good field
Yeah.
position battle and all that. So there's a difference in low scoring games. But
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
back to the oh,
Wow.
twice.
Nice. Yeah.
All right. Kieran, I think you said you're in the mud this week.
Yeah.
So am I. Um, this is gross, but we're going with it. I'm taking the Raiders -1 over the Saints. Um, these are two bad football teams. It's as simple as that. Um, but I look at the Saints. They do not have a competent QB who can run an NFL offense. Shutout last week. They haven't scored 20 or more points in the last 5 weeks. At least when I look at the Raiders, I do see a stable of competent offensive players that can make plays at an NFL level. I think AOC, he could do some things. Madison, Abdullah, obviously Brock Bowers, fantastic. Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker can break off a big play. They've got guys that can make plays. I don't think the Saints have that. They're shutting everybody down if they haven't already been shut down, due to injury. So I look at the Raiders. I think they're going to win this game outright. So I'm going to take them to cover the point.
That was my number two pick. I like it. I mean, I like AOC. Like, I'm not gonna try and argue that he's like this fantastic quarterback or anything, but he's like a solid quarterback. And maybe he's like career backup, but he can step into these situations and play stable football. I don't know if Spencer Rattler can do that, but it really just has come down to like I'm looking at the sheet and like I see good matchups for even though Madison and Amir Abdullah are not like a fearsome
Well,
duo or something, they can get it going on the ground game a bit. They can score touchdowns.
yeah,
So they have a decent matchup there, and it's like I'd rather see them with a good matchup than with a bad matchup,
yeah,
because at least that gives them a chance to do something. Yeah, I think Jacoby Myers, he can have a good week here. I think Brock Bowers can continue to play well and chase those rookie records and everything like that. And then I'm just looking, it's like you said, I don't know who's making the plays for New Orleans.
yeah.
Maybe we're suckers and, it's such a small line, like we're falling right into the trap, but I'm just not seeing who can make those plays for them. So, even if Rattler's able to get something going or maybe, stay on his feet a little bit better and stay stable in the pocket, I just don't know who he's really throwing to. So yeah, I had the Raiders. That was my second pick.
I think I like everything you guys said. I agree with everything. Also, last week, when the Raiders won last week at the end of the game, they didn't look like a team that is trying to tank or get that first pick or get Shedeur Sanders or get Cam Ward or whoever they're looking for. Um, that team was excited to win. That team wants to win. And they just because Mark Davis may want them to lose. I think Mark Davis was actually on the field with them celebrating too, or in the locker room celebrating too. He might just be too oblivious to understand what kind of draft implications that does have. But Antonio Pierce, I mean, he's never going to coach his team to lose. That's one thing you definitely know about him. So I don't think that they're a tanking team. The Saints, on the other hand, like you said, Tristan, they shutting everybody down. All their actual playmakers and real players and players for the future are not here. Not going to be here for the rest of the season, the next 2 weeks. So, two different teams, way different situations, and yeah, I mean, like to pick a lot.
Yep.
And also, who did the Saints play last week? What was that game?
Packers.
The
How about
Pack.
Monday night?
I mean, like, it's an interim coach, and, I don't think that he's going to be, I don't think he has a real shot at keeping this job or anything. But, like, I mean, like, his coaching and competence was on full display last week, too. So, yeah, I just feel like the Saints, they are, like, just completely tanking downwards. I just don't think they're in a good spot. So, I mean, maybe we're suckers and then we're buying into this cheap line. But, yeah, I just feel like Vegas is going to go out there and, like, they have the better players, they have the juice, and I think they have the stronger desire to win. So to me, you got to make that pick.
All right.
All right. I'm on the Jets plus 11.
Uh,
It's just a huge spread. I was looking back, they tend to split the season series. I do think that it's typically the Jets win at home, and this is in Buffalo. So, there's a little bit of a difference there. But um, then I ended up looking at some stats, and Aaron Rodgers, in the very few times that he's been a underdog of a touchdown or more, I think he's like 4-1 against the spread. Josh Allen is a big favorite, is not great against the spread. He has a losing record against the spread, so that kind of made things make a little bit more sense to me. But I don't know. I was looking at the matchups. I think that whether it's Brees Hall or it's their stable of running backs, getting the ball, Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, they're both in a good spot to, have, huge games here as well. I think that Jets defense, they can play hard. They can keep it tough. They can keep Josh Allen honest. Of course, I think they got embarrassed earlier in the season, but I think that kind of adds to it as well. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is just in full Grinch mode. He wants to fuck people's lives up, even if he can't necessarily do that with the same conviction that he used to be able to when he was in his prime. I still think that the energy is there, and I think that's what he wants to do. And I think just being an 11-point dog, that's just to me, even if he's washed up, that's crazy for Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's good offensive matchup for them, and I think it's just too many points. And I don't know, I feel like something's coming. There's just been so much attention on this MVP debate. I just feel like Josh Allen's gonna like fall a little bit flat. It just feels like everybody's trending. I was saying that to you guys yesterday, where people are like mad that an MVP race wasn't wrapped up with a month and a half to go. Like that's just not how it works. And now people are like, hey, maybe we should also consider this guy that's also putting up an insane season. Everybody's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, you guys said it was that. It's like, no, that's what are you talking about? And it's like I was saying, I just love seeing people's bias come out. Like, you'll be talking to a Bills fan online, and they will like virtually look you in the eye and be like, I am unbiased. And meanwhile, like their profile picture is Josh Allen. Their Twitter handle is like JA17 playoff season. It's like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like something's coming. I do feel like the MVP like debate really is shifting in Lamar's favor, and I feel like he's going to continue to kind of put it on like that. And it just feels like a flat spot for Josh Allen here. I think everybody's going to be going into this looking at them. The Bills are going to blow them out. The Jets are dead. I think it's just too many points.
The only reason why I did not pick the Jets this week is because I picked them last week, and I can't go back to back Jets. But they were my number two pick on the board this week. Like you said, too many points. I also do think, with the Bills. I was listening to PMT this week, and he was saying, or no, not PMT, Greenlight podcast by Chris Long. They were saying that Josh Allen, I guess, in an interview, was saying that they're going to be running a pretty vanilla playbook to not show.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I saw that too.
to not show too many, to not show too much of what they're going to be running the rest of the season.
Mm.
So if they're going in with that mindset, they're looking probably to run Ray Davis and James Cook like 30 times, 35 times, and I don't know if that really translates to like a 11 point, 12-point win. I don't know if they're playing a conservative game, just trying to eke out the win just for the win's sake. That really means blowout. It doesn't feel like they're trying to show too much, which I get. And if they have that kind of mindset the rest of the season, um, I just don't see big numbers getting put up on the board there. Maybe on purpose, maybe not. Especially if the Jets come out with a little bit of fire. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just stuck in the past or something, but it's like I just look at that roster and it's a organizational incompetence, it's coaching incompetence, but there's so much talent on that roster. I just can't.
Yep.
I couldn't feel comfortable taking Buffalo with all those points.
A lot of points. I like it. I like the pick.
All right, the Sunday night game, right?
Yep.
So it's Falcons at Commanders -4. All right, back to back.
Okay.
I'm on the Commanders -4 here. I was looking at the sheet, and as far as the matchup itself goes, I mean, one, I'm thinking, rookie quarterback in prime time, that's already tough right there. But Atlanta, they are weak against, I'd say they're about average, maybe a little bit below average against quarterbacks. Running backs run really well against them, score a bunch of touchdowns. For the most part, get a decent amount of yards, 4.5 yards per carry. And then wide receiver ones, they're averaging 78 yards per game against them over the last four. They're averaging 94 points a game. But I hear that. Good matchup for quarterback, good matchup for running back, good matchup for wide receiver one. That plays perfectly into the hand for Washington. That's all that they run their offense through. So when it's playing into their strengths like that, it sticks out to me. And also just a rookie, on the road in prime time, I'm just not buying it. So, I'm going to go with Commanders -4. All right.
I'm on the Commanders, -4. It's Terry McLaurin, 2 touchdowns. Kieran already talked about the wide receiver one spot. Um, Terry McLaurin, 2 touchdowns, 95 yards, I'd say. I think they squeak out a little bit closer than expected, maybe a garbage time touchdown by the Falcons at the end there, but I think they're going to be able to push that lead up a bit, like two possessions before they get that garbage time touchdown in. So I think it's a pretty easy game for the Commanders. I don't really believe in the Falcons with the quarterback change at the end of the season like this to one, win the division, and two, make the playoffs in any sense. So I like kind of their collapse the last 2 games of the season in a general sense too, just because I think that quarterback change was pretty unfair to Penix and the rest of that team, kind of the spot they put him in. So, yeah, Commanders.
Tristan.
All right. Do
Are you sharing the screen to show us you actually had the Falcons?
I am. There it is. I was on the Falcons. Um, yeah, I don't know that Atlanta wins this game, but just be asking them to cover. I like the 4. And I think they can get it done with a heavy dose of run. And the Commanders are bottom 5 in run defense. Obviously, Penix, this is going to be a second start. It's prime time. So I don't see them, really leaning on him much, but I think they can find a lot of success in the run game. I think that can help slow the game down a little bit, maybe slow down that explosive offense of Washington. So, um, Washington also has had their struggles. I mean, I know Atlanta's 8-7, so it's not like we're talking about like an 11-5 team here, but the difference between Washington's performance against above 500 teams versus below 500 teams. Commanders also coming off a win against the Eagles. Teams are 0-2 against the spread in that spot this season, 9-21-2 against the spread since 2020. So I liked Atlanta here, but Commanders with the pick.
Dan Quinn against the team he brought to a Super Bowl. Not sure if that's good or bad for him.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wouldn't know how to handicap that at all.
Got to mean something.
It means something, we just don't know what. And I'm not sure he does either.
No, he has no clue.
Oh.
All right.
So now the man Campbell's just in, right?
So I made a wheel because I think we should still let the wheel decide. I made a wheel. It's a Man Campbell, Kyle Shanahan wheel. I've got Man Campbell in all caps. Here, I'll share it.
Shanahan in 2 font.
Yeah, I got him in lowercase. So
You should have done Kyle Shanahan and like the like Cam Newton would
yeah.
type it on Twitter.
So so I think we should do one spin, right?
Yeah.
But maybe should I, just for dramatic, should I make it like a longer spin?
Please.
Because right now we do a spin for 10 seconds. Should I go like 20 seconds?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I didn't know that we were capable of doing that.
Dramatic.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I can change the sound. I can do all sorts of stuff. But
Oh.
all right.
All right. So
One spin to determine if we're on the Lions or the Niners.
okay. And again, this is in the spirit of we let the man Campbell come to us.
Yeah. Never force the man.
What's the 4.5, 5?
+4 the Niners are at
Yeah.
home. All right. Holy hell.
Yeah, this is legit.
My eyes are bugging out.
We may need to incorporate this next year.
Oh my God.
Oh. Oh.
The walk off.
We're
Oh
walking off with man.
It's a walk off.
That is outstanding. Outstanding.
Detroit minus
There's nothing better than Man Campbell. Like, there's nothing better.
No, like being told like, hey, you have to root for the best team in the league, and they have a coach that like every jock should want to play for. Uh,
With the best OC. With the best OC.
Yep.
I
Um,
love it.
I will say, do we want to talk about the game or do we want to?
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I do think so. A couple things I was reading on Action Network. So Purdy, dating back to Christmas of last year, Purdy's just 1-8 against the spread against teams above 500 straight up on the season. His lone cover was against the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football this year.
And they
Um,
don't really count as a good team. They can't count as a good team. That's
no,
the awful.
no, no. Um, obviously, we know. I love this headline: Dan Campbell's ATS legacy, which is awesome. 49, 28, and 1 against the spread as the coach of the Dolphins and the Lions.
Wow.
That 64% win percentage is the best for any head coach with a minimum 20 games in the Super Bowl era. Um, and it's interesting, Lions struggles against the 49ers. Lions history against the Niners, not pretty. Not even mentioning the crushing playoff loss less than a year ago. Lions are 2-17 straight up, 8-11 against the spread versus San Francisco in their last 19 meetings dating back to 1988. But I read that and I think to myself, it's a different team, it's a different day. And there's always a moment in history where the tide starts to turn. And I think that's going to start on Monday night. That's my belief. So,
yeah, honestly, if it came down to picking, I was actually kind of leaning the Niners. That's strictly just based off of the sheet, though. I was looking at it and I was looking at the matchups, and I think that Jahmyr Gibbs can get a lot going on the ground. It's not like the best passing matchup for Detroit. But then it was more so like looking at the offensive matchup, and it's a good running matchup for the San Francisco running backs and for the wide receiver 1 and 2. Like I feel like they're equipped to maybe attack it, but then at the same time, I don't know if that backfield will be able to take advantage of this matchup. So, maybe Jawan Jennings and Debo can kind of get things going again, in the receiving game, but I don't even know who's playing at running back. Is
I think
Patrick
Garendo.
Taylor?
I think
Is
I think
Garindo back?
Garendo's back. I think Garendo's back.
Yeah, so like I think that it could still be like I think San Francisco can keep it close, but I do feel like it's still going to be a touchdown victory for Detroit, which of course would have us outside of the number.
I like it.
No Trent Williams. He's out for the year.
That's right. Yeah.
That's another thing that's worth considering. They're like really bad without Trent Williams.
They're awful. They need them.
Yeah.
All right. So just to recap, let's go through it. Let's see. I'm on the Raiders -1 over the Saints. Kieran, you are on the Jets +11 against the Bills. Bowen is on the Packers +1 against the Vikings. We are on the Commanders -4 Sunday night against the Falcons. Bowen and Kieran were on that Commanders side. I was on the Falcons side. And then in a walk-off, Man Campbell -4.
Excellent.
What a week.
All right. I mean, 5-0 gets us above 500.
That's what a week. Let's do it.
Would be nice. Anything
do
winning,
it.
you just chip away, close that gap. I don't care how we do it.
I love too that we're gonna have Monday night. We're gonna be on the Man Campbell. Oh my God. Oh my.
Hi,
Oh
girl.
no. No, don't. No.
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 Hi, girl.
He jumped.
She jumped and he said, "Oh my God, Tristan." Oh shit.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Oh, Memo. Hey.
Uh, but I love the fact Monday night we're gonna be sitting down to watch that game with a chance to go 5-0 to stay above 500 and
Championships on the line.
2 championships on the line.
Bro, I just want to hop on Man Campbell's back. I just want to hop on his back. Just bring me where we need to go.
Bowen, do you have anybody in that game?
Oh, I'm on Ron Jameson. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Karen,
I'm assuming I'm gonna have to have some sort of point scored.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll almost certainly, unless you really blow them out on Sunday, it should probably
Yeah,
come
no,
down to even if you only need like 2 points.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna need something, or a lot in that game. So yeah, it's gonna be tight butthole city. I'm actually going out
And
to
Kieran, you got Goff, right?
I got Goff.
Okay.
yeah, KB, who do you have just Monday night, just Goff?
I got Goff Monday night. I don't think I have anybody Sunday night. Um, but yeah, it's just Goff, for that matchup, and then he has nobody. Let me see. Yeah, he has nobody Sunday or Monday night. So really, it's I got final say.
I love
Like
it.
24 hours to really think about what I need from Goff.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna put in our picks as a parlay. It looks like I can get a boost, so that's exciting. All right. Well,
Word.
good talk. Bowen, are you able to hang on Monday?
So I have a dinner with the foreign correspondent and his new girlfriend.
Okay.
But that isn't at an undetermined time, and I was actually going to push for earlier anyways. And that's going
Yeah,
to be
you
in
can't have
Plymouth.
that be during the game. You cannot
No,
have that.
it's going to be in Plymouth, and it's going to be like just the dinner. So I'm hoping like a 5. And my parents are watching the baby too, so thinking like 5 p.m. dinner, maybe in Marion area around like 7ish, 7:30ish, like right before game time. And then like I said, my parents have the baby, so I'm gonna see if I can finagle my way with Abby over wherever you guys are at. So let me know. I'm sure we'll be talking. But yeah, the date there is gonna be. I think I'm pushing for like 5,
All right.
like 5. So yeah, I'm gonna be heavily in the mix and guaranteed to be headed back to Marion to pick the baby up at some point that evening. So I think it's gonna work out actually quite nicely.
Love it.
Yep. So
When are Sarah and Albert going to be back?
They get back on Tuesday on your birthday.
Hey,
Yeah.
open house.
What's that?
Said open house.
What
Well,
here?
we can watch at your place.
Hey, you can. Yeah.
it'd be a shame if we had to use your new beautiful home for a
Yeah,
place.
yeah, Zach, you haven't been there yet, right? So
Never.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, come on by.
yeah.
Fuck yeah. All
I'll
right.
make a plan. All right, cool.
All right.
Word.
Talk to you later.
I'll see you
Ready,
guys.
guys.
All right. Bye.